feel like the luckiest man on earth right now. Thank you all. And I love our country. And I'm so happy to be back here.
Hard not to smile watching that. Marc Fogel offered his thanks to his country and his president after his release from a Russian prison yesterday, ending more than a 3-year ordeal in captivity. They're a nightmare for him. The American teacher was welcomed home late last night, a snowy Washington. The pictures are really amazing. He was arrested back in Moscow in 2021 for carrying 17 grams of a doctor-prescribed medical marijuana, and he was serving a 14-year sentence before yesterday. The U.S. said he was wrongfully held during that entire time. Fogle was brought home by billionaire real estate investor Steve Witkoff, who is President Trump's special envoy to the Middle East. Witkoff joins us now first on CBS Mornings. Mr. Witkoff, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
And thank you for stepping out of the private sphere to take on such an important job in government. I want to stay in Washington for this first question because it was so amazing last night to have Fogle there, the American flag around his neck. He's got an Iron City beer in his hand. He looked, for all appearances, like he was in pretty good shape, but you spent time with him. What was his mood like, his demeanor? How healthy is he?
He was upbeat. He was intent on thanking the president because he was so grateful to him. He was exultant. And I would say, most importantly, he was intent on not playing the victim. He was grateful for all that had happened on his behalf, and he expressed that at the news conference to President Trump.
You know, we're all curious what exactly did happen on his behalf. Your plane arrives in Moscow yesterday. You're on the ground for a time. How did this come together, and did you personally meet with Vladimir Putin to help bring this about?
Well, I don't want to discuss the meetings that happened in Moscow. I would only say this. A few days ago, we were approached by someone, and we felt that we could get Marc Fogel home. We spoke to the president about it. That's top of the list for our president. Top of the list is that no Americans are left behind. They're all brought home. We fight for every one of them, and he gave me instructions, and I flew over there, and thank God we had a good result.
Can you say if you met with Vladimir Putin?
I just don't want to comment about that. I think today, this morning, should be much about Marc Fogel, his reuniting with his wife and talking to his mom on the phone. All of these conversations I heard last night, him letting the president know when he got here last night how grateful he was, that he never thought it would happen for him. Every day he woke up in the morning hoping something like this would happen, and finally it did. And as the president said, it took the president 2.5 weeks to effect this. And it's testimony to him, how he operates, how focused he is on the goals that he espouses. And here's a great result. And then on top of that, maybe it's going to lead to a lot of wonderful things between him and President Putin in the future.
He also, Mr. Witkoff, called you dynamic and said you were very involved in this deal too. So, bravo and congratulations to you as well. But we want to turn to the Middle East. President Trump has said this, that if all the hostages are not released by Saturday at noon, all hell is going to break loose. That's a quote. It's been my experience, all hell breaking loose is never a good thing. What exactly does he mean by those words? We all know the phrase. And does it involve U.S. military, do you think? Or could it involve U.S. military?
Well, I don't want to get into the tactics, but I would take President Trump at his word. He generally means what he says. I would describe generally as 99.9% of the time. So I don't think it's a tactic. I think that what he's saying is that Hamas's acts here have been completely irresponsible, reprehensible, that it didn't need to happen. It's not going to be tolerated, and that he's given conditions. And if they adhere to those conditions, then Sunday will be a better day for them. And if they don't adhere to those conditions, then it won't.
Mr. Witkoff, as we look at these images of Gaza, let's talk about some of those words by President Trump. Yesterday, he said that by U.S. authority, it would take over Gaza. How would that actually work, and what authority does the U.S. have over that region?
Well, first of all, I think that what he's saying, and I think it gets misinterpreted at times, what he's saying is that there ought to be a better life and a better prospect for the Palestinian people. That living in Gaza today does not fulfill the humanitarian equation. It is a very, very difficult place to survive. There's 30,000 unexploded projectiles that are throughout the area of Gaza. There are dangerous conditions all over the place. There's been estimates as to how long it would take to rebuild. I think there's general acknowledgement that it's no less than 10 years, and it's probably closer to 15 to 20 years. So the president's objective here is to have long-term peace. And we're going to have long-term peace if there's long-term opportunity and wonderful prospects for the Palestinian people to live in a better way, not to be afflicted by violence, for their children to grow up and get educated and have great economic prospects. And that doesn't occur in an environment like Gaza, where we just keep on reinventing the wheel and doing the same thing over and over again. Maybe it's time for new ideas, and that's what he's challenging me and everybody else working on this to think about.
Yeah, we appreciate you. We have to get going. I wish I could follow up on that, but thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for your work, Mr. Witkoff.
Okay. My pleasure. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Have a good one.